Paintings are full of unsolved mysteries. To understand the mystery of each picture, you have to get acquainted with the life and thoughts of its creator. Let these paintings come to life. Watch our new TV program at the gallery.
A sculptor should be highly professional in order to express his idea. Otherwise, it's like a dog. Eyes look very smart, but it can't say anything. First of all, it's professionalism, so that your hands should not hold you back, so that you would do what you feel without thinking how to do this or that and what it is made of. Modern people, what do they dream about? What are they afraid of? What do they like? What thoughts are in their minds and how do they live? If the future generations would be interested in answering these questions, they would turn to historical documents and, of course, to the works of art. Today, we shall find out how the Kazakhstani sculptor Dauren Dasmagambetov sees our modern life. His point of view is vividly expressed in his urbanized sculpture. Historical reference: Urbanized sculpture. Author Dauren Dasmagambetov. Almaty, 2017. Bronze, glass, wood. Any Dauren's idea appears not spontaneously. It is related to certain deep personal impressions. To my mind, the most important is being honest to oneself as much as possible, doing what burns inside you. Dauren Dasmagambetov's monumental works win viewers' hearts with their honesty, both solutions of plastic image in space and architectural verification. Due to them, the master got known and deservedly recognized. But today, we shall tell about another course of his art, the small chamber sculptures. Biographical reference: Dauren Dasmagambetov was born in 1976 in Almaty, in the family of the famous sculptors of monuments Tuligan Dasmagambetov and Olga Prokopieva. I'm happy that my son works like that. Graduate of the Almaty Gogol Art College and Turgenev Academy of Arts. He has been working on monument sculptures since 1997. He is the author of Kanishat Payev's monument in Karaganda. In 2011, he was nominated for the State Award of the Republic of Kazakhstan for this work. He admires the beauty, nature, science, art, literature, and music beyond measure. Broadly speaking, this nature that perceives is the artist's nature, which perceives the world around and processes it all the time. I cannot imagine my father in any other occupation. I just don't see him doing anything else. As if the universe has destined so. The universe predetermines that he would be a sculptor. It could not be otherwise. Both mother and father were sculptors of monuments. That's why my line of work was a bit forced upon me. I simply didn't know that there were any other professions, but you might get busy, something else. Good, kind and clean, walking in suits, working in an air-conditioned office. I just didn't know there were such professions. I would have probably gone there, but I had no way out. Because when I was born, I was brought to a workshop because at that moment our flat had been under repair. Parents clearly made a mistake in their estimates. That's why they had to take me to their workshop. So this course was destined and chosen not by chance. Dauren's father, Tuligan Dasmagambetov, passed away long ago. And his mother, Olga Prokopieva, is a full member of the Academy of Arts of Kazakhstan. And she is still the most loyal critic and the most admiring reviewer for her sons. the outstanding modern Kazakhstani sculptors Sanjar and Dauren Magambetov. Mother always praises me. No other possibilities. Any work of art is considered to be the best, and this course is very unreliable. Father was always suspicious to such things. You know, men's attitude to children. Whoa, he even speaks, and even sculptures. It is on the one hand, and on the other hand, I don't want my children to work in this course. I think that's enough with dynasties. But on the other hand, when the child starts sculpturing something with plasticine, it seems so interesting. You watch and think, wow, what a funny thing.
At first, he went to college. In college, he often had fights, and we had to take him from college back to school. Only after that, he went to the art college, so we were going back and forth. And while he studied in art college, it was with pleasure. He graduated from it in 3 years instead of 4. He passed exams without attending classes. Then he sculptured in his diploma work, and then he went to study in the Academy of Arts in his father, Tolegandos Maganbetov's class. And he quite independently sculptured figure composition named Zod.
Beautiful Queen is one of the first sculptures in which Dauren Magambetov reveals the secrets of woman's beauty. Then there were tender girls of the Italian Middle Ages, bronze contemporaries, and the portraits of his wife and daughter. Generally speaking, each of my works contains a part of me, and my attitude to the world. And maybe it's a view of me at that moment. Each of my works is me at various moments, and different moods. It's either me the way I am, or me the way I want to be, or me the way I don't like myself, maybe.
I think my favorite father's work is Pegasus. It is so light, and at the same time it's well balanced. It speaks of some miracle. The horse as it falls down, but at the same time it flies up. And you don't know if it's going to fall down or to fly up. But that its wings are small. They look like wings, which cannot lift a big, muscled and heavy horse. But they will lift it. They already did for sure, and it shows miracle. There is irony almost everywhere, either direct or hidden. And there is always some kind of paradox. A paradox theme which is revealed due to the titles of his works.
One more illustration of the modern life is an optimist bull. It has heavy, strong muscles, but at the same time, it aspires for the sky. It is also a kind of self-portrait. It is probably about me. It's a big, fat bull which wants to fly. It is held by gravity, by force of gravity, but it wants to fly. It wants to do something impossible. It wants to break through to the new level. It is impossible, but it really wants it. His works are thoroughly made plastically. Master verifies each detail, achieving the outward likeliness with the prototype. He confers them with irony, sense of humor, and adds a part of his character and his soul to them. It is sculptured all over on every stage. Each time you go to the next material, you have to make certain amendments. And nobody knows what you would get as a result. Changing of texture, changing of polishing and toning grade changes the sculpture's effect completely. If you put it that way, I see the stop motion and more bold, more dynamic motion of the horn. Much changes with the slightest change of the sight angle. Generally speaking, the way to such work is quite long. At first, we make a sketch. After that, it is made with a soft texture in plasticine or in clay. Then it is shaped, waxed and molded. And on each stage, you actually sculpture it all over. Sculpture is born in everything I see around. The matter, the reason, the purpose and the task may arise at any moment I see. It may be a crow hit by the car. I just walk along the street and in the drain cover I see the bird hit by a car. And the composition starts shaping up in my head. It's a relief. The drain cover is a symbolic background. It is the symbol of the city and the death in space. The creature, which is born to fly, lies crushed on the drain cover. It is a sculpture already. It's a solution. It is the opportunity for relief. A cat eating something in garbage is also the object for the sculpture. A woman with an empty bucket, an old woman with an empty bucket, is a bad superstition, but it is good for the sculpture. Anything I see may sooner or later become a sculpture. Often animals become the characters of Daurendis Magomedov's works, but they are not like Peter Cloth's heroic characters. Let us just recall his horses carrying the chariot of the goddess of glory. They were made of the hammered copper in 1833, and they decorate the arch of Narva Gate in St. Petersburg. They are also not like devoted workers for the sake of mankind, praised in the works of the Russian animalist sculptor Evgeny Lanceret. Let us recall his Little Russian's plower, whose plough is carried by the quad of bronze bulls. This vivid sculpture was molded in 1877. Thus Magomedov's animals look also different from the cats of our contemporary, famous Colombian sculptor Fernando Botero. His sumptuous, grotesque works decorate parks of Barcelona, Yerevan and New York. This 7-meter-tall cat occupied his pedestal in 1987. For Daurendis Magomedov, everything starts with the idea. There are pieces he works on for a long time, shaping the sketches, selecting materials, while there are others which are born in a moment. And the idea, the fleeting image in his hand immediately becomes tangible, acquiring shape and volume. Even a dirty homeless cat may inspire the sculptor. I was walking to a workshop from home, passing by a litter bin. You know, it was a horrible weather. All was in a bad state from the very morning. A bad weather, it had just been snowing. It was cold and nasty, damp and foul. I was passing by a warm drain cover, which was steaming, you know. And a cat was sitting on this drain cover. It was a dirty, stray, dinky, skinny cat with sticking out spine. It was dry and absolutely wild. I passed it by and quite automatically said, "Kitty, kitty." He turned to me and showed me the most spiteful, the most angry face existing in the world. It was a kind of gremlin who hackles up and with spittle spitting from his teeth, or even freaked out in horror, passing it over to look at it. It found a fish skeleton somewhere in the garbage and took it to the warmest place in its life. It took this skeleton to a warm drain cover, and it was just going to have a meal, and suddenly I intruded, trying to take this tasty away from it.
This meeting impressed the sculptor so much that he came to the workshop and just in a couple of days sculptured his vis-a-vis in ceramics, which is the fastest possible material. And many years later, the master got back this work.
I just wanted to look at this cat from another point, using a different material. To look at this cat through the prism of bronze, to see how it would look in another material, to see it even skinnier and bony, and probably I have made it even more grotesque.
Master decided to mold his old acquaintance in bronze.
The most plastic, the most free material one may use both for the volume and for filling up the volume. And at the same time, you may use it as a contour, as a shadow graph. It may simultaneously work as a mass, but at the same time, as a contour of the mass, as a contour of air around it. It's a material combining plasticin's plasticity, airiness of the air, fluidity of water, which can be as bright as the sun and as dark as the land.
In order to add grotesqueness for the homeless cat, Dauren carved the holes in the ribs so that its body size started to look like predatory gills, like the ones we can see on the sharks or on the modern cars. And with a special chemical compound, he added certain green code shade to some details.
The color of the sculpture fulfills certain role. It is cold and a bit aloof. Of course, it is made on purpose, and the author stresses on the breach of humans with the modern urban atmosphere. Contradictions and conflicts between human personality, his natural organic matter, and those complicated code, strict city structures.
On this count I saw the modern urban man, the urbanite, middle-class manager, which has found his place in this world and some meal. He's got a trophy, and he's ready to tear up one's gulp for this trophy, for this warm place. Well, actually this warm place is just a drain cover. And his valuable trophy is this partially rotten fish skeleton. And the majority of us is just like that. We seize and carefully hold our telephones, cars, flats. We grasp them, we hold them and guard them, thinking of them as of our trophies. And from the view of someone else, all you have is just a drain cover and a fish skeleton.
Stone, metal, and even clay live much longer than humans, and these sculptures would live longer not just than their author, but also the epoch he lived in, and they would become the vivid illustration of the history of the early 21st century. Detached and concentrated and severely protecting their piece of bread, departed from nature and trying to find themselves in the high-tech world, but always aspiring after rising above land and winning over the force of gravitation. And so completely different, but live and real, will remain our contemporaries in the eternity in their works of the remarkable Kazakhstani sculptor Dauren Tasmagambetov.